On this James the Bike Guy, we're taking a look at the race-faced Next R crankset. This is a pretty neat crankset from Raceface, carbon fiber, and built for a lot of things. So before we take a look at it, be sure that you're subscribed by clicking the subscribe link right on the bottom right corner. So inside the box, we'll see the Next R carbon crankset. So this is a beautiful carbon fiber setup from Raceface, and it's really set up to be able to do everything from a XC race bike, trail, enduro, or even a fat bike, and that's because of the really neat Cinch system that this crankset uses. So this crankset uses a Cinch lockdown for your chainring, and basically what that's going to allow for is this crankset can actually run all sorts of direct mount chainrings. So in this case, the direct mount setup on this is a Raceface proprietary system, and that allows you to take a chainring and actually put it right onto the crank arm, and then you can set it up with virtually any 1x style chainring. And they actually make everything from a 24 tooth all the way up to a 42 tooth chainring that would go on this Next R crankset. Now, the other neat thing about the Cinch system is that the spindle, which is a 30mm diameter spindle, this spindle can actually be replaced with several different sizes, and they go from a 134mm spindle, which is what we see on this particular crankset, and that supports a 68 or 73mm bottom bracket. They also have a 170mm spindle or a 190mm spindle, so you can use the exact same crank arms but with different size spindles, so you can go from everything from a 5-inch fat bike, a 4-inch fat bike, or that standard 73 or 68mm shell. And you can actually see on this end, that's actually where you can use an Allen key, and that'll actually allow you to remove the spindle. Other neat thing about the spindle that I should mention is they actually even make a power version, so you can get a power meter right onto your next crankset because of that 30mm spindle. So another neat thing about this crankset is it'll actually come with crank booties that are specifically shaped and designed for the crank arms. Now, I really like this because the crank arms themselves actually already come with a paint protection vinyl on top of them. And in fact, if you want to see how to do this yourself, I do have a link down in the description with how to do that. But the rubber booties that go onto the bottom of the crank arm, not only are they a perfect fit, if you take a look, but they also correspond with the line of that paint protection vinyl. So you end up having a really nice interface. Now, with any carbon crank like this, you'll actually want to run a pedal spacer, which does come with this crank arm, and that's just because you would never want your pedal to be marring into the carbon, because you can see that the pedal insert is just a little bit recessed. So that's basically a look at these Next R carbon fiber crank arms. This one that we're looking at, of course, does have that 134mm spindle. It's also a 170 length. So let's go ahead and see what this weighs. So the Next R carbon crank arms and 134mm spindle is going to come in at a reasonably light 406 grams. Well, thanks for watching this video on the Raceface Next R crank arm set. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, as well as hit the like button if you enjoyed the video.